Leading like Jesus. You know, sometimes leadership is about going somewhere that you haven't been before, and sometimes it's about dealing with where you are right now and getting through something so that you feel good about kind of the story of it all. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about our experience, with our fire, because that was a stressful event. It was not someplace where I was leading our life, but it was something that we were dealing with. And I was thinking about, we think about the head and the heart and the hands and the habits of Jesus. And as I was thinking about going through this whole fire experience, I was sort of thinking about how could that model help me understand some of the things that we went through and some of the ways that we got through that. Because this was a traumatic event, no doubt about it. I'm sure any of you would agree that a house you've lived in for 25 years, all of a sudden gone, with a lot of your memories, a lot of your photos, is a traumatic event. So I was trying to think, if I were to use that model, head, heart, hands, and habits of Jesus, how did that help me get through that time? So let's start with the head. The head has a lot to do with your belief system. It has a lot to do with your perspective. So one of the things I ask myself is this tragic? I got a bunch of wonderful notes from people, and every time I saw the word tragic, I thought to myself, is this really tragic? Or is this sad, which it was? Is this very inconvenient, which it was? And is this unsettling? And it was. But it wasn't tragic. We had lost a dear friend a couple of weeks before the fire. He was on a motorcycle going to see his grandson play baseball, and a nurse hit him, and she killed him. And I just was sitting there at this funeral and thinking, this is the kind of funeral Ken would have. People would come in from all over the country, and we would all be talking about this was a celebration of a wonderful life. But I wasn't ready for that. That would have been tragic. This fire was not tragic. This fire was something we were going to get through. And so life is lived in language. And sometimes the way that you experience something that's happening to you has a lot to do with the language you're using to describe it to yourself. So the first thing I decided was, in terms of my head, that this was not tragic. We were going to get through this without thinking of it that way. The other thing is, I remembered a Bible verse, John 16:20. You will have pain, but your pain will turn to joy. That's an amazing promise. The pain of a fire, once you've gotten over the shock, is what I call pinprick pain. Every day for many months, you remember something else that was lost, and it's kind of an ouch. And I think that God does that so that you can take it in, so that you can actually tolerate. But that promise that your pain will turn to joy made me ask questions like, what's our lesson in this whole thing? What are we to learn from this? We had a memorial service for our house, and we had just a wonderful celebration of the spirit of the house and what it had meant to us. And the very last thing that happened was my daughter stood up, and she said, my mom and dad aren't very good at throwing things away. We had 6,700 books in that house. Nobody needs 6,700 books. And she said, I used to come over here and I used to look around and I used to think, boy, when something happens to my mom and dad, I'm going to have to clean this place out. And she said, I am telling you, I am feeling pretty joyful right now because I don't have to do that. And it was so sacrilegious that it was really funny. But I started thinking about how many days I had spent sorting through stuff and trying to get rid of stuff and having a difficult time with that. And it was keeping me from doing other things that I wanted to do.